You know, guys, one thing that you'll find when you start looking for tractor implements is that it's really hard to find them that are made in the USA. You know, obviously a lot of stuff comes from China these days, and I've decided that I'm going to try to make a more conscious effort to find stuff that's actually made here in America. So the other day I decided that I was going to go get a set of pallet forks for this tractor. So I went over to the local Rural King because they had some in stock. They had several of them in stock, actually. But what I noticed was they had stickers all over them that said made in China. Now it's funny because all of the other attachments and implements that they had there under their house brand name, they were all made in the USA, but the pallet forks were not. And they wanted $850 for them. So I looked at them for a moment and I just decided, you know, for 850 bucks, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to buy something that's Chinese. I'm going to, you know, for that kind of money, I know that I can go home, order online, get some American made ones, and just have them delivered for free. So that's what I was going to do. And it just so happened that I was taking my son to a birthday party last night, and I passed by a local tractor implement dealer that I had completely forgotten about. For some reason, it just slipped my mind. And I saw these sitting out there. So I stopped and looked at them, and this is the Titan brand. And so I got onto the Titan website, and according to their website, these are made in the USA. Now it's kind of confusing because there's a Titan Attachments and a Titan Implements, and they both make a lot of the same stuff, and they're both headquartered in Tennessee, but apparently there are two different companies from what I can tell. So it's kind of confusing, but this is Titan Implement that made this. And like I said, on their website, they claim that these are American made forks. So not only that, but they wanted $650 for them. So I saved 200 bucks and I got American made just by being patient and waiting and looking around a little bit. Now, like a lot of dealerships, they leave their stuff sitting out in the weather. It would be really expensive to try and store all of the stuff indoors. So you can see there's a little bit of surface rust on some of the welds. You know, it's not perfect, but you could go through here and clean this up and just hit it with some spray paint if you wanted to. I don't think it really indicates any problem with the product. It's just something that happens. So you may, you know, if you find something like this laying around at a local dealer, you may have to clean it up a little bit, but that's not a big deal. This one is rated for 4,000 pounds, which obviously is way more than the tractor's rated for. And that's kind of the way I like to do things. If you get implements and attachments that are rated way beyond what your tractor can handle, then that means you're never going to tear up your stuff. You know, the tractor's never going to have enough power to tear this up. So at that point, all you have to worry about is staying within spec and not overdoing it and getting yourself hurt on the tractor, you know, which is just common sense. But at least you don't have to worry about tearing up your stuff. Now, this one obviously has the skid steer style quick attach. So it's got the steps on the side so that if you use it on a skid steer, you can step off the machine. So that's what those are for. These are welded on, whereas the Chinese ones at Rural King were bolt on with 2 bolts. The framework looks pretty heavy duty. You know, I don't see any issues there. You know, it attached very easily first time. These are 48-inch forks. You can see the specs there. And I tried to slide them a minute ago and they slide pretty easy. So far so good. You could always grease things up a little bit if you have some trouble. But I think this will be a really handy attachment to have around. You can do all kinds of things with these. And so I wanted to try and find some locally. And it just kind of worked out, I guess you could say. Now, obviously, you know, one thing you have to pay attention to here, these are 48-inch forks. So the end of the fork sits way out, farther than the edge of the bucket would. You know, I mean, the bucket over there is a pretty good sized bucket for these New Holland tractors. But these forks stick out even farther. So obviously the laws of physics come into play here, guys. So, you know, you're losing a ton of your lift capacity out here at the end of these forks. You're not going to be able to pick up the full 1,600 pound rating for this loader out here at the end of the forks. So, you know, that goes without saying. You have to know what you're doing and be careful. But you can pick up a lot of different things with these, and they're just going to be super handy around here. So I think it'll make a nice addition. So if you take a look here, it says USA right there on the Land Pride branded land plane. The bucket that came with the tractor, I wonder if there's any markings on this. It doesn't really say. Hey Tucker, what's up buddy? It doesn't really say. It just says it was built on September the 19th of 2019, but there's not really a location of origin on there anywhere. So I'm not really sure. I'm assuming whoever builds those loaders probably builds these too. Maybe they're South Korean, I don't know, it's hard to say. Now this is a Westendorf brush crusher. They make these in the USA. And over here on the Tartar box blade, proudly made in the USA. So, like I said, sometimes it's not easy to find stuff that's American made, but if you look around and you take your time and, you know, and put a little bit of effort into it, you can find a lot of tractor implements and attachments that are American made. And, you know, it's sort of a, I guess, a controversial topic, I know, but there are a lot of guys like me that just feel better about buying American made stuff, you know. I guess it's sort of like the old saying that family comes first. It's sort of that whole concept, you know. This is our people, our country. We're kind of in this together, and we have to support one another, you know. So anyway, I just thought I'd run that by you, kind of show you what I got here. Can't wait to put it to use. I think it's going to be pretty handy. And at this point, I've got a pretty nice collection of implements and attachments around here. Who knows what's going to be next? Hey guys, so how do I like this Westendorf brush crusher so far? I gotta say, this thing is pretty doggone awesome. I mean, not only can you pick up brush with it, this whole pile that I'm accumulating here was put here with the brush crusher, but as you can see, you can also uproot trees that are not to the point of being brushed just yet. I mean, basically all I did was wrap a chain around the bottom of it, and I put it on the strong part of the upper teeth. Not that crossbar in here, but around both of the main structure of the upper teeth. And I mean, it pulled this, used to be a pine tree, a pretty good sized pine tree, pulled it up out of the ground, no problem. So I'm just finding all kinds of uses for it. There's a lot of places around here, especially down there on the riverbank or in the tree lines, where I had a whole bunch of brush that we had cut and just laid down over the hill. And we could have gone over the hill and pulled it out by hand, but I was just always really dreading that job. Well, with the brush crusher, I have enough reach and enough power that I can just reach over there, grab it, and then come dump it on the pile. And so I gotta say, this thing is pretty awesome. Now, a whole lot of people kept telling me, you're gonna want a third function. Well, that's the whole reason I bought this one, is to avoid having to get a third function. I mean, the third function kit and installation is somewhere around $1,500 or a little bit more, which puts you almost to the full price of just buying one of these. So you almost save half the cost by going this route. And I find that this actually works really well. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I had to move these pins around. They were originally here, and then we tried this spot, and then we settled on this one. And of course, you got to move this upper one too. So, and we also had to move this lower part here that meets up against the arm of the loader. So we had to do some playing around with it and a little bit of adjustment, and, you know, trying to find the sweet spot so that this lower arm, I guess they call it a jaw, lower jaw, lower tooth, whatever. The lower section here and the upper section would mesh together tightly without this swinging around. Because if this is still swinging around, then obviously you can't get a tight grip on anything. So that's what we had to do, is play around with these pins until it would get a good tight grip on things. But once we got this figured out and dialed in, it's been working fantastic. And I really love this thing. There's so many different things, not just brush, but there's other things that you can move around with this also. Fence posts and, you know, trash, or just what, I mean, there's all kinds of things. The list is really long. So This is the 4300. So this is the one that has the skid steer style connection, and it's got a little bit of a different design, but in theory it's still pretty much the same as the one that you typically see, which is for the John Deere tractors. So anyway, so far I gotta say I love this thing. Now if it holds up over time and doesn't break or give me any problems like that, then you know, I'll be really happy with it. So I guess I'll just need more time to tell how it's going to hold up as far as durability. But just functionally, I really like how it works. I really do. And you know, while I'm on this topic, this Workmaster 40 has been fantastic so far. I've got over 20 hours on this thing already, and I have not done one regen cycle. I haven't seen the light. There's, you know, a couple of lights on the dash there that are supposed to come on when it goes into a regen cycle, and I have not seen this thing do a regen yet. Now, from what I understand, and I could be wrong about this, but from what I understand, some of the other brands will go into regen like every 4 to 6 hours, which is pretty frequently. But this one, over 20 hours, haven't seen a regen yet. So I'm not sure if these LS engines, I think LS is making their own engines now. I'm not sure if they've got some other more advanced type of tier 4 emissions system on here. You know, still got the DOC, DPF, you know, the same kind of equipment. But what I'm saying is, I don't know if they have their own proprietary design or what, you know, but so far I haven't seen a regen, which is awesome. I'm sure one's coming sooner or later, but so far I haven't seen one. Fuel consumption has actually been surprisingly good. This one has the same size tank as the 25, the Workmaster 25, and it seems like that I don't use any more fuel than I was using on the 25 horse tractor. So, and I think, you know what I think a lot of that is, and I mentioned this in my video, I think with the 25 horse tractor, the power is so weak that you have to run full throttle all the time, you know, just to do what you need to do. And with this tractor, you've got enough horsepower that you can throttle it down. I think that's the difference. I really do. So yeah, the fuel economy seems to be pretty good on this so far. You know, obviously I've had no issues with it. It's been fantastic. So we'll see, but so far I gotta say I love this New Holland Workmaster 40. It's been a great tractor so far, and obviously time will tell. 20 hours is not much, but I'm racking them up pretty quick, so time will tell. I'm loving that Artilian canopy, especially now that the days are getting longer and warmer. And my little, oh, I gotta show you this, my little magnetic cup holder. So I was having a hard time finding like a fender mount console type thing, so I got this magnetic cup caddy. I think I got that from Amazon.com, and it's literally just a magnet that sticks to the ROPS, and it holds pretty strong too. I mean, it's on there pretty good, so you can put a big drink in there and it won't go anywhere, you know. So the toolbox, my little cup holder, my canopy, my rubber mat, I mean, it's not super fancy, but I've got a few creature comforts on here. That's hard to say. That's a tongue twister, and I'm liking it so far. I really am. But hey, I'm gonna quit yapping. I gotta unload this tree and go get some more work done, because the sun is getting a little low in the sky. So we'll be back later.